did what he shouldn't have done and showed the riches of the kingdom of Israel to the Babylonians and caused the invasion of Israel. And Jeremiah prophesied against Zedekiah. So it would be appropriate if inside this cave, and by the way, here is the entrance to the cave. And let me give you a little closer shot of the entrance of the cave. Okay? You can actually visit this place now, although they will not let you into the Masonic lodge. Way deep inside the tunnels of this place, there is a Masonic lodge. They won't let you in that, of course. But they went inside this, and they didn't realize what they were going to find. By the way, here is some of the wording of what you will find inscribed there. It'll tell you all about Zedekiah's cave and so forth. Here's my friend, by the way, inside one of the tunnels, who went in and was able to make this interesting discovery. Here, by the way, is another scene inside the tunnels. You can see they're quite vast and still really quite rough and primitive inside. But deep, deep within, they began to get narrower and narrower, and then finally they came to a door. And this door was locked, and it was padlocked. And my friend asked the guide, what is that inside there in that room? It was apparently a huge room or cavern inside. And he said, that is the Freemasons' hall. And once a month, he said, the Grand Lodge meets there. These Masons meet under the earth, deep down in Zedekiah's cave. And then he looked and he found this, the amazing thing. He found this plaque on the wall, evidently in Hebrew and English, that told a little bit about the Freemasons' hall. The Masons, the Masonic Lodge, actually meets deep under the earth in the cave of Zedekiah. Well, how appropriate for Freemasons. Here's an article that came out of, I got this out of the book, Secret Societies and Psychological Warfare by Michael Hoffman. I want to give him credit, pages 50 and 51. This article out of the Canadian Jewish newspaper back in 1990, page 29. Picture of a Mason. You can see all of his regalia, his apron and so forth, and the sash and so forth. It says, Cohen, Samuel H. Cohen, is named to the Grand Lodge. And this article says, Samuel Cohen, a native Torontonian from Toronto, an active community leader, recently became the third Mason in the organization's history to become the Canadian representative to the Grand Lodge of the State of Israel. And he says, the lineage of modern Masons can be traced back to the stone masons and builders of the Middle Ages. Very interesting. It says more than 200 Masons from the Grand Lodges, the lodges in Ontario and in other places in Canada, attended a reception in Cohen's honor. It says 2 of the lodges in Ontario, the Mount Sinai Lodge and the Palestine Lodge, are predominantly Jewish. In other words, they're almost all made of Jews, the Masons in those 2 lodges there in Ontario, Canada. They went to a reception for Mr. Cohen. So the Grand Lodge of Jerusalem of Israel actually has representatives from all nations of the world. And this was the Canadian representative. Let's look at some of these Masons in the Middle East area then who have affected world history. Here is the king of Jordan, King Hussein. He died recently of cancer. Here's a picture, I'm sure, sorry it's not too clear, of Shimon Peres, who is a Mason. And he is right here, Shimon Peres. And on the other side, entirely, is King Hussein. Now, in the middle is King Hussein's son, the crown prince, Hassan. And recently, when the king died, the crown prince took over. Hey, if you want to need another Mason, I saw him on a TV program actually admit he was a Mason. And remember the Israeli publication that said this man, Benjamin Not Netanyahu, former prime minister, still one of the most powerful politicians in Israel, and he comes to the United States, speaks perfect English. He has a graduate master's degree, that is, from MIT University in Massachusetts. Here he is sitting in a outdoor restaurant in, I believe it's Tel Aviv, I know it's in Israel, with his wife, and his bodyguards are all around him. He has admitted that he is in fact a Mason. Here's another picture from one of the American news magazines, I believe it's Newsweek, of Mr. Netanyahu. And then here's a picture in a Jewish publication called the Jerusalem Post of Netanyahu. And there he is with one of the Jewish rabbis who is a member of the Knesset, the Shas party, one of the very orthodox Jewish parties in the Israeli parliament. Here's some more pictures for you. Here is the secretary under President Clinton, our secretary. Here's right here, our Secretary of Agriculture. And the caption says, the Agriculture Minister of Israel, Raphael Atan, is seen with the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture, Dan Glickman. Let's get a little close-up of that again. Dan Glickman, who's the Secretary of Agriculture under Clinton, meeting with his counterpart, Mr. Atan. Now, Mr. Atan is a 33rd degree Mason, and as my book, Days of Hunger, Days of Chaos, proved, Glickman also is a 33rd degree Mason. And by the way, look at the handshake. Yes, it is. It's a Masonic handshake. Oh, they have their secret ways of communicating, do they not? Here's another picture, very interesting. This is King Abdullah II. He has taken over now the kingdom of Jordan. King Abdullah II, they call him. Remember I showed you the picture of the crown prince? His father, King Hussein, died. Now it's King Abdullah II. And he's giving a nice little Masonic handshake to the former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak. Ehud Barak. Well, who would ever thought the King of Jordan, a Muslim, would be so Masonically connected with the Prime Minister, former Prime Minister of Israel. Now we have another set of pictures here. Here are two more Freemasons for you. There is Rabbi Lau, the chief rabbi of Israel, and he's meeting with none other than Mubarak, the president of Egypt. Well, he's a Muslim. And there he's meeting with the chief rabbi. And look at that hand sign of the rabbi. Interesting. Well, we go on more. This is, by the way, that was from the, I want to make sure you understand, that was from the Omega Times newspaper, January 1998. Now we have something interesting. This is the Council on Foreign Relations Journal. This is the actual yearbook that the Council on Foreign Relations in New York City, the most powerful men in the world meet, the Rockefellers and all the others. They meet, including, most of the Bush administration are members of this, including Colin Powell, of course, is a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. Here is Shimon Peres, former Prime Minister, now Foreign Minister of the State of Israel, and he's giving a nice little Masonic handshake to one of the CFR officials. He was the speaker in New York at a meeting of the Council on Foreign Relations. Friends, it gets thicker and thicker, doesn't it? By the way, here is a picture. I can't really see. I don't want to stretch it at all. This is a picture in the Jerusalem Report of February 12, 2001. We have a picture from some years ago of the President Anwar Sadat, who was assassinated. There he is here, of Egypt. He was assassinated. He's shaking hands with Ariel Sharon, who was the defense minister of Israel at the time. And right between them is the prime minister, former prime minister of Israel. His name was Shamir. Shamir. It's interesting that the name Shamir in Hebrew, I am told, means serpent, the serpent.